And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And so thankful to have you here on this broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You could see my shirt and know this is a family show, so you know I'm not swearing. It says WTF with the Italian flag, and it says, "Where's the food?" So let's appreciate that here this morning. Proud card-carrying Italian. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios, and I am so happy to have woken up this morning. Besides the fact that I thought there was an alien on my roof last night, all is well. So if anybody else living in central New York heard some weird creaky noises and heard something on the side of the house and the roof of their house, send it in to me. Write us a message. Let me know. Like, am I crazy? Was I just that tired? Hopefully. But good morning to each and every single one of you. Hope you're doing well inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are there for sales and service Monday through Saturday. Let them know that DT sent you, and you can get a sneak peek of their awesome inventory of new and used vehicles by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We are here up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. You're watching and listening on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and you're listening to live internet streaming radio on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Thank you for everyone that is here watching and listening wherever you may be this morning. And if you're watching it on playback, well, welcome as well. Papa Joe here with me inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. PJ is going to bring us through Major League Baseball, as he always does. We're about 80 games into the season, so it is a 162-game season, which means, believe it or not, folks, we are about to hit the All-Star break. And that's crazy. So, that's absolutely insane how close we are to the All-Star break. So PJ and I will be talking about Major League Baseball and where things are at. Some teams are right around 80 games. Some teams are at 80 games. And in hour number 2, around 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be joined by Gene Mills. Gene Mills joins us today, and we'll be telling you about a golf tournament coming up for the NFL Alumni for the Upstate New York chapter. It's the second year that they're holding it. And we'll be speaking with him about the golf outing and what that entails and who's going to be there and who they're donating to and why you should get yourself involved. So a lot of great stuff coming up, and I'm going to bring the man in of the first hour here, PJ. PJ, before I say anything, though, best thing that I could hear all week long, MT's okay. So that's the most important thing, is we got to take care of our MT. Precious cargo that MT is, and we appreciate her so much. And we were talking about food and whatnot before we got on the show, so I didn't get to say this to MT, but maybe she's in an earshot where she can hear me this morning. MT, the next time you go to the doctor, since they said stay away from dairy, I want you to wear a cheese head because you're from Wisconsin. So I want her to walk in there with a good old Green Bay cheese head and say, "What, doc? What could I possibly be eating?" So happy that MT is okay, and that is the most important thing here this morning in the conversation. PJ, how are you?
Okay, Daniel. Good. We're just rocking and rolling here. This is our time of the year where it gets about 100 degrees every day. So, you got to, I'm walking, every other day. I'm walking 3 days a week, and I'm riding my recumbent bike 3 days a week.
Yeah.
That's the latest. That's the latest for me on exercising. I got to do something.
Yeah, keeping yourself fit, keeping yourself involved and energized. And obviously that's important, folks, to get out there and get your body moving. How you treat your body, what you put into your body is extremely important. We treat our bodies like there's some car we can trade in at some point. This is the only one that God gave you, which means you got to change the oil, you got to check the muffler, you got to make sure the engine's running, and you got to make sure that your brakes are there when you need them. One that God gave you. Make sure that you means you got to change today and do something good for yourself. PJ out there walking, which I can appreciate and respect the fact that you're taking care of yourself, PJ, because you are precious cargo as well. So a lot of great stuff going on. We're speaking on the 2025 Major League Baseball season. We're about 80 games into the season. And when I checked last night, and if anybody's seeing me look at anything off screen and I look like a crazy person, or I try to like blow the air in a certain direction or swat, there is a singular tiny fly in my studio today, and he's trying to get his 15 seconds of fame, which would be followed by 15 seconds of death. So I'm trying to get rid of this thing. But PJ, yeah, we're about 80 games into the season right now, and so I'm going to unleash you on baseball like I always do. And crazy to see, we've seen some teams get to 50 wins already, and one of those teams being the Detroit Tigers, who them and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the only teams in baseball to have 50 wins. Both of them have played 81 games so far. So take it away, PJ.
Okay. Well, first of all, I cut my ponytail off.
You did?
Yes, I
Why?
have regular hair, as you
Why?
can see.
Why'd you do it?
Diana did it for me. So
Okay, can you tell us why?
Okay.
Was that your decision? Yeah. Was it MT's thoughts? What was it?
No, I just got tired of it. I mean, I wanted to do it because I did it before when I was in school, when I was teaching. It's hot. It's hot, especially when I'm out there walking and I got hair flying all over the place and I got it on my back now. It wasn't right. So time to let it go, and I did.
All right, fair enough. So PJ comes to us this morning sans ponytail. So we'll find out this morning, PJ, if the ponytail had the info, had the juices. If because they say some players switch their haircut and sometimes they play better, sometimes they play worse. You've come to us so many times without a ponytail, so I trust it. And now I would like PJ sans ponytail to bring us into about 80 games of the baseball season.
Okay, well, usually what I do is I'll go through the schedules,
Yep.
the win and losses, averages, home runs, things like that. Things are really starting to shake down. There's going to be some serious activity in the trading market very shortly. And in the second part of our broadcast today, I think I have a nice chart that I can look at.
Okay.
Let's start with American League. We got the Yankees at 46-34. Tampa's at second, 45-35. They're only a game behind. They were 7-3 in their last 10 games, and the Yankees are 4-6. The Yankees are absolutely pitiful. They can't hit. Pitching is mediocre. They can't field. They look like a bunch of school kids out there. I was so pissed off last night. I couldn't stay straight until Chisholm hit a home run that it got him ahead. But they're not. They got a bunch of guys, really a good bunch of guys. They're only hitting about 230, 240, 250. And you can't do that. Judge is the only guy that's doing any hitting. Ben Rice every once in a while, but he's down in the 242. Anthony Volpe, there's no one other than Paul Goldsmith who's seen his average drop from 380 down to 290. And he's in a serious slump. So Manager Boone gave him a night off last night. But anyway, let's go to the Central Division where you mentioned Detroit is 50-31.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the American League. I forgot American League East. Tampa's only one game behind now because they're 7-3 weak. Toronto's 3.5 back. Boston's 7 back, and Baltimore's 12 back. Let's go to Detroit in the Central Division. They're 50-31. Cleveland is 40-38. They're 8.5 out. KC, who is my favorite in this division, I still think they got a shot, but they're only 38-42, and they're 11.5 out. They got to do better than that. Minnesota's 11.5 out, and Chicago White Sox are pitiful at 24 games out. Let's go to Houston in the Western Division. Houston is 47-33. Seattle's 41-38. They're 5.5 out. Los Angeles Angels are playing decent ball this year. Even sans Mike Trout every once in a while. They're 7 out. Texas is 7.5 out. And the Athletics are 15 out. Houston has separated themselves from the rest of them by going 7-3. They got good pitching. They got good hitting. I don't expect them to fold at all. I think Texas could make a run, but they need better pitching. Now, average-wise, let's take a look at this. As I mentioned earlier, Aaron Judge is hitting 361, leading the league. Just last week or 10 days ago, he was hitting almost 400. That's a suicidal pace. That's never going to last. And frankly, Aaron will be lucky to hit if he's 325, 330. I don't think anyone's going to challenge him when it comes to average wise, but excuse me, he's been in a little bit of a slump too. The last 3 games against Cincinnati, he struck out 7 times and 1 yard once. Home runs, Cal Raleigh, Seattle, has got 32 homers, and he's also leading RBIs at 69. Now, Raleigh is taking over Judge. Raleigh is a serious player, has been for a while. He's a catcher, he sees the field clear. He's a big time power hitter. And Seattle is lurking because of Cal Raleigh. 1-loss record. Max Fried's got 10 wins for Yankees. Last night he pitched 7 innings of a 3-hit ball. He was almost unhittable last night, so he won easy. ERA, Fried again at 1.82. And saves, Josh Hader got 21 saves. Josh Hader used to be with the my Brewers. Now, there's something significant here. Team hitting, Tampa is leading the league in hitting at 257 average. Team pitching, Texas is leading with an ERA at 3.25. Now, the reason this is significant is because New York is 4th in both of those charts right there, and they're still in first place. Don't know why, because they're not playing well. Chisholm at third base is lost. He makes good plays, then he throws the ball away. Then he gets an easy grounder and he boots it. He needs to quit playing around and just play ball. That's it for the American League.
Well, PJ, I want to stop before we go to the National League. I want to stop you here for a second. We had a question that came in, so I do want to address it. So the Yankees are going to go up against the Blue Jays soon in Toronto. We had a question come in from Mike about the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, this is how the Jays have done so far. In recent history, I should say, they had a series with the Athletics at home, and they took that 4-0. They took a series at home against the Phillies 2-1. They took a series against the Twins on the road 2-1. They took a series on the road at St. Louis against the Cardinals 3-0. Then they had a series at Philadelphia against the Phillies, lost that series every game 0-3, and then they defeated the Diamondbacks, won their series 2-1 at home, and then lost to the White Sox at home in their series 1-2, and are 1-1 on the road at the Cleveland Guardians. The question that came up, PJ, was what we think about the Toronto Blue Jays. They're 42-37. As you mentioned, they're 3.5 games back behind the Yankees, and they are 2.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays, who are in second place in the American League East. Wanted to get just some thoughts that you had on the Blue Jays.
Well, they're a viable candidate to win this division. The Yankees can't figure out how to play baseball. They've always had good hitting. They got the two kids from the major leaguers. Also, good news on that. Dante Bichette. I think he's going to be trade bait. They haven't signed him as to a new deal yet, and I think maybe he could be trade bait. But Toronto always plays well against the Yankees, and it seems like anyone's playing well against the Yankees. Now, Cincinnati played well against the Yankees because they pitched well, and that's the one thing that just stops the Yankees. Why Judge can strike out 7 out of 10 times, I don't get it. He hits the ball so hard sometimes. I think he's trying to hit too many home runs instead of hitting singles and doubles and triples. So, anyway, Toronto should make a lot of noise in this division. I don't think that they're going to overtake the Yankees. The Yankees just have too much talent and pitching, but Aaron Boone sometimes doesn't make the right decisions. He's constantly changing his lineups. He's got guys in and out, up and down the batting order. You got to be consistent. He's got Judge batting. They got Judge batting second or third most of the time, and he's seeing good pitches, but he's just not hitting them. So let's go to the National League.
Well, and PJ, I do want to get this really quick too. We got another thing that came in. The question was, are the Blue Jays one starter away? So do you think they're missing just one piece, or how do you see it?
Well, that's a good question. I think that you can't have enough pitching at this time of year.
Yeah.
There's so many teams with so many arm problems now. I would think, and I'm almost sure of this, that Toronto will be a buyer in the next couple of weeks. Okay. So the answer to your question is yes, they need an arm.
Okay, that coming from Papa Joe here this morning. Michael, appreciate you sending in your questions here and your thoughts. And nice to have somebody who's loving on Toronto, because I, as you know, am a Toronto Raptor fan. So I very much appreciate our neighbors to the north. Toronto's a little over about 4.5 hours from Syracuse, New York, my hometown. So now to the National League. PJ, didn't mean to stop you there on the National League, but wanted to make sure we addressed the questions of the American before we went there. So National League it is.
No, always. Any question is viable to me. I'll answer any question. Let's look at the Phillies, just leading the East Division, 47-33. The Mets are 47-34. They're only half a game out. Philly was 6-4 in their last 10 games, while the Mets were only 2-8. They flipped it. They flipped the deal. Atlanta's way out of it at 9.5. Miami's 13 out of it, and Washington's 14.5 out. So Philly looking like it's going to assert themselves. They still got the best pitching with Noah, Wheeler, and Ranger Suarez. I still think that they're going to make it. The Mets really dig it out for it. In the Central Division, we got the Cubs at 47-33. They're the best in this division. Milwaukee's 45-36. They're 2.5 out. St. Louis is 3.5 out. Cincinnati 5.5 out. And Pittsburgh 16.5 out. Now Milwaukee and St. Louis crept up a little bit because they were 7-3 in their last 10 games, while the Cubs were only 5-5. So look for this division to really turn around. Usually, I usually treat this division like the red-headed stepchild, beat them up all the time. But this is a serious division. They got 4 teams here that are eligible to be in a playoff. Let's go to the Western Division. LA 50-31. San Francisco's 44-36, as is San Diego. They're 5.5 out. Arizona is 8.5 out. Colorado's 31.5 games out. They've only won 18 games out of 80 games. Jesus. Anyway, Los Angeles won 8-2 the last 10 games. Put them a little breathing room there between San Francisco and San Diego. This division is all about the Dodgers. They have no excuse here midway, no excuse to close the deal. Sure, San Francisco stuff, San Diego stuff. They're good hitting, good pitching, San Diego. Arizona's got some serious health problems again. Corbin Carroll went on a DL, fractured his wrist on a pitched ball. They need him to top of the lineup. So there is this division is going to be fun to watch because Arizona has still got a shot to creep in there somehow. And if three of these guys can make the playoffs, it'd be remarkable. All right, let's go to average-wise. Will Smith of the Dodgers is hitting 330. He's a catcher. Now, you know how hard it is to hit 330 in this league and a catcher? His legs are almost gone already. He's halfway through the season. He's a hell of a player. Gutty young player. Freddie Freeman's backing him up 320. Ohtani's lead home runs with 27. RBI, Pete Alonso's got 64. One-loss records, there's 5 guys that have already won 8. I'm not going to name them. You can look them up. ERA, Paul Skeens is at 2.12. Now, I saw Skeens pitch the other night against Milwaukee, and their prized pitcher, I can't even pronounce his name. It starts with an M, big, long nickname. Anyway, he outpitched Skeens. But Skeens is, I think he's 4-7 with a little over 2 ERA. Not getting any support from his team at all. I mean, you can't win every game 2-1 or 3-2 or 4-0. You've got to have some run support. Team hitting. Not surprised here. The Dodgers are hitting 265 as a team, and as team pitching, the Mets, no surprise there, but ERA at 3.25. That's it in a nutshell, Daniel. There's a lot of things shaking and baking, and there's going to be a lot of activity in the next couple of weeks with some trades and trade baits, whatever. I got a screen here that I'm going to start yakking about pretty soon.
Yeah, and we'll get to the trade bait pieces here in a second. I want to go back to the NL West and just how insane it is when you look at the Colorado Rockies. The Dodgers are in first place, as you said, 50-31. There's only 2 teams in baseball that have 50 wins so far this season. The fastest teams to that, the Detroit Tigers in the American League and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League. The Dodgers lead the NL West by 5.5 games. Now, San Francisco could have cut that down last week. They had an opportunity to cut it down, and they did not. So they're 5.5 games back. The Padres are 5.5 games back. Padres are a hair above the Giants. The Diamondbacks are 8.5 games back. Everybody's within striking distance. And here's a cool thing here. Everyone, the Padres, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks all have winning records at home, but only 2 of those teams have a 500 or better record on the road. The Dodgers are 20-17 on the road. The Diamondbacks are 21-21. Shout out my number. The Padres and the Giants have losing records. The Padres are 19-22 away from home, and the Giants are 19-20. Then you get to the Colorado Rockies. Their away record is Halloween, 10-31. October 31st. That's their record. So, and there is a lot of scary things about the Colorado Rockies. If you dress up in a Colorado Rockies baseball uniform for Halloween, you will scare people. 10-31 they are right now. At home, 8-31. This team has lost 62 of 80 games. They are 18-62 as we talked this morning. 31.5 games back. You look at the division and you say, Dodgers lead, Padres, Giants 5.5 back, Diamondbacks 8.5 back, and then it jumps from 8.5 to 31.5 games back. PJ, they fired their manager, but what is going on with the Colorado Rockies? They are the worst team in baseball. We have talked about them before, but they are getting farther and farther away. I thought baseball had a mercy rule. If they lose, like right now they're at 62. If they lose, let's say they get to 90 games quick and in fast pace, can they mercy rule and just stop the season in Colorado? What are your thoughts?
Well, we've hammered them the last couple of years. I mean, they're just not competitive. They lose their manager, Bud Black, who's been around for years. He was a pitcher himself. He's did a good job with Colorado with the players he had. This is a time where Colorado's got to really dig deep here. They got to say, look, everyone come into my office. The GM says, got a big plasterboard up there. We're going to put names down there. We're going to pull up our minor league system. Let's bring some players up that we think could make the major leagues.
Yeah.
And this is the time to do it. Don't wait till the All-Star break. I mean, what the hell? You're gonna lose 120 games. What's the big deal? I mean, bring some players up, even if they're kids, 19, 20 years old. I saw 2 kids, 22 years old, throw it this last week. The kid from Milwaukee and a kid Evans from Cincinnati, 22 years old. They're in the first-round draft picks, 19, 20, 23. So if they're out there and they're throwing or hitting, even at a single A, double A, triple A, bring them up.
Well, and that's at this point, what do you have to lose? The Colorado Rockies are not winning anything. They're not vying for anything. You think about 10-31 is not successful by any stretch of the imagination in the win-loss column on the road. Even worse at home. 8 wins at home. But the difference, I'll say, between the Rockies and the Athletics, at least the Rockies have a home to lose in. Because the Athletics don't. They're in limbo. They're not the Vegas Athletics. They're not the Oakland Athletics. For right now, they're the Sacramento Athletics. But they're not the Sacramento Athletics because they're just using the facility. They're not taking on the city name. So maybe in 2027, maybe in 2028, the Athletics will find a home. Like I said, one of the weirdest things in baseball is that every one of the 30 franchises has a name in front. They have a city or state in front of their nickname, and the Athletics are just simply called the Athletics, a team without a home. We'll take a step aside. Speaking of a home, well, some of these players have new homes by the trade deadline. PJ will tell us his trade bait thoughts right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. And you will find them for sales and service open Monday through Saturday. Let them know that DT sent you. That's all you have to say. DT sent me in here, and they'll know where that came from. So go see their vast array of new and used vehicles and find out what you're going to be taking home today. Will you be like my dad and take home the Ridgeline? Will you be like me and take home the CRV or the HRV or the Passport and so much more? The Pilot, the Civic, the Accord, so many different things at Great Lakes Honda City. And while supplies last, you could find your way over there today and find the vehicle that suits you and the color that you like the most. So make sure you do that. My dad switched the colors up. He's had white, he's had black. Now Dad's doing this really like light blue. It's not Carolina blue. It's like a grayish blue. So he's with that now and definitely enjoying his 2025 Honda Ridgeline. With that being said, PJ, we talk about new. We talk about going and enjoying something new that you can go and get. Well, we're before the trade deadline, and there's some teams that maybe want to get some new things, bring them in, to be excited about, something to unwrap under a Christmas tree in July instead of in December. Who are some of those trade bait players and some of those trade pieces that you'd like to discuss today?
Well, what I'm going to discuss now is it had to pertain to the gentleman that asked us a question about 20 minutes ago about Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto will be looking for a big arm. Unfortunately, Daniel, what I'm going to tell you now is that your Zona's got to poop or get off the pot. They got to play better. They got to compete in that division, or they're going to mail it in. Now, the way I'm looking at it, I see they have 4 or 5 guys that are trade bait, and I think some of those pitchers might go to Toronto. Let's talk about some of them. First of all, we'll talk about Eugenio Suarez, who's having a hell of a year for Arizona, plays third base for them. There's a 50% chance that he could go. Now, he's got 6 or 7 teams that are after him. Now, Seth Lugo of Kansas City, let's get Zach Gallen. I watched Zach Gallen pitch last night. He didn't look anything like he was. He's lost too. I don't think he's going to be traded, but Toronto is one of the teams that is looking at Zach Gallen. That would be a big-time arm. Also, Merrill Kelly from Arizona is also a trade bait. Toronto is also on his list. And also Josh Naylor, who plays first base. Naylor's hitting over 300 this year. He's doing a heck of a job. He's a good, solid player. And I think that's enough for Arizona. Arizona's got some decisions to make, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, the Diamondbacks have stayed relevant. They won a World Series back in 2001. Fastest team to get there, fastest team to win. They did it over the Yankees. And then they kind of didn't completely go away, but Curt Schilling left right after that season. and then they got back to the playoffs, and then they faded away for a while, but they've been consistent in recent history. They've been consistent here in the 2020s. And after having lulls and stretches of time where they weren't in the postseason, now they're a team that has been able to get there. The question becomes, though, what do they need to do? How can they move forward? Because injuries happen, things happen, but Corbin Carroll struggled last year. And now he, on June 24th, was put on the 10-day injured list with a fractured left wrist. Now, Eugenio Suarez, as you mentioned, he's day-to-day with a hand injury, participated in light batting practice this past Tuesday. So you have to look at the fact that some of these guys, obviously, are trying to get back to full health. Corbin Burns, him going to get Corbin and then seeing him not out there is obviously a frustration piece. When you look at the team right now, as far as where they stand overall in batting average, we look at a team that has guys like Josh Naylor, who's hitting 307. Ketel Marte's hitting 313. Gabriel Marino is hitting 270. Geraldo Perdomo is batting 259. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. batting 257. Corbin Carroll, prior to injury, 255. Suarez, 251. So, not too shabby. You got two guys over 300 in their batting average. Suarez leads the team in RBI, so obviously they need him. He's at 67 RBIs. Naylor on base percentage 363. Naylor leads in hits with 89. Suarez leads with home runs for the Diamondbacks at 25. And Naylor leads the team in batting average with 307 overall when you look at a certain amount of at-bats. Ketel Marte has had just shy of 200 at-bats. Naylor has had 290 this season. So he's currently leading the team. I mean, it seems like, they had Josh Bell last year to try and wake him up when Corbin Carroll wasn't hitting well and they needed some offensive presence. The question now is, do they go and find that? Remember, they don't have Christian Walker. He went in the offseason. So do the Diamondbacks look to add another bat or another two bats? And do the Diamondbacks look at pitching in their rotation right now? That's the question. As we head toward the trade deadline, will the Diamondbacks, now keep in mind, Brandon Pfaadt, who in 2023 was a rookie, here in 2025, he's a couple years in here, so this is third season in Major League Baseball. He's leading the team with 8 wins. The most wins by any pitcher this season is 10. So he's not too shabby on what he's doing. Shelby Miller has 9 saves this season. Zach Gallen has a record of 5-5. Merrill Kelly has a record, Zach Gallen has a record of 5-9. Merrill Kelly 7-3. Brandon Pfaadt 8-5. Eduardo Rodriguez 3-4. Corbin Burns 3-2 prior to injury. Ryan Nelson 4-2, and he has a save this season. So, PJ, I don't think that we're looking at a team that's not talented. I think we're looking at a team that's in a really difficult division. I think we're looking at a team that in another division may be leading the division or be in the top 2. So, what do the Diamondbacks do when you're in a division that's spending, Dodgers are spending over $2 billion on 3 players alone? Well, you got to go out there and you got to get somebody. I think they get another bat or 2, and maybe they try to work in a pitcher to help them out right now in rotation. I don't see a team that's not capable, but it wouldn't hurt the Diamondbacks to make a move on the mound and to make a move with the bats. I don't know if they necessarily need to let go of anybody, but I think they might need to bring in some offense and bring in a little bit of defense.
Those are all good points, but I think what we're seeing here was these 3 players that I mentioned that are on the trade block. I think that they're looking to mail it in already. For them to overcome L.A., San Francisco, and San Diego is too much to ask, especially with Corbin Burns had Tommy John surgery. Who knows when he's coming back? Middle of next year sometime? I mean, he was their stud. He's the one they signed for over $200 million. I mean, that just it's asking too much for him, Daniel. And the reason I say that Gallen and Kelly are trade bait is because they're solid. They're solid pitchers. Solid. Speaking of pitching, last night I thought I was seeing things. I go over the results again this morning, and last night there were 7 shutouts. You don't see that. That may be a record, but maybe you have to look that up. You're the stat guru there, but I don't think I ever remember the slate being like this. 7 shutouts. So right there, you're talking pitching. So I'm looking at Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen to be serious trade bait here, Daniel. And I think that Arizona they're just looking to mail it in. That's all.
Yeah. So I can tell you this: there was 7 shutouts on one day for the first time since 1972. That happened on September 6, 2006. So to look at that, that was 7 shutouts that we had, and 7 shutouts in both leagues tie the major league record. This was back 1964, and so now I'm looking at this right now. What's the record for most shutouts? There's been 6 today in a 7th game, going into the 9th. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm reviewing this correctly, but it looks like 7 has been the number so far. So most shutouts in MLB history. Yeah, so it looks like they have some opening day ones and then year by year. So if there was 8, from what I'm seeing right now, it seems like 7 was the number that we were looking at, that we've seen. They said that was back in 2000, like I said, September 2006, for the first time since 1974. And what PJ is talking about here is that we saw last night, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So am I counting 7 here last night? So we got, yeah. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, the 7 from last night look like they have tied 1974 and 2006. So maybe 8 is the record. So looks like we got good. So we got 7 last night. So maybe we could get 8. I do want to honor the teams that did it last night. By the way, like you said, PJ, seeing a shutout, you don't really see as much anymore. But Phillies did it over Houston did it over Philadelphia on the road, and who else we got? We have Chicago. The Cubs did it over the Cardinals on the road. The Rays did it on the road against Kansas City. The Twins did it at home against Seattle. And then the Athletics did it on the road against Detroit. The Rangers did it on the road against the Orioles. The Padres did it at home against the Nationals. So, of the 7 shutouts that we had last night, PJ, here's something to it. 5 of the 7 shutouts last night came on the road.
That's good. That's good information. Now let's talk about pitching, which is my favorite subject when it comes to baseball, pitching and defense. There's one stud out there that everyone's going to try to get, and that's Sandy Alcantara. We know him from Miami. He was the 2023 Cy Young Award winner, or 2022 Cy Young Award winner. He's coming back off the Tommy John surgery. He's rounding in the shape now, and he's looking strong. He didn't start out the season too well, but Miami always looks like they want to sell someone. Going back to the days with Christian Yelich, they gave Yelich away. But anyway, Alcantara is going to be first on everyone, even more so than Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly for Arizona. Gallen, if he was pitching better, maybe 1, 3 or 4 more games instead of having a losing record or a high ERA, we wouldn't be having this conversation because Arizona would be right up in the mix with LA, San Francisco, and San Diego. That's not the case, though. Sandy Alcantara is a stud, and he's going to make someone a winner. And I'm looking, talk about our friend we talked to about a half hour ago. I look for Toronto to really go after this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Toronto, I mean, that question becomes, what do they do? Because they're not that far away. Now, what I'm looking at right now, PJ, to maybe have to abridge this here, is that 1972 and in 2006, apparently there was 8, not 7. So the record for the most shutouts in a single day in Major League Baseball history is 8, and occurred on June 4th, 1972, and tied on September 5th, 2006. So, yeah, it says 7 shutouts on one day for the first time since 1972. And so that says 7. And, yeah, so this is very confusing because it says the record is 8. So let me just look at this. In an era, I just want to make sure. Yeah, it was the most shutouts on one day since there was a record 8 on June 4th, 1972, when 16 games were played. 13 games were played Tuesday. So there were 7 or... Okay. So 7 or more shutouts on one day. Back in 2006, that was the 8th time that it was 7 or more. So it seems like... So there were 7 shutouts in 2006. The record is June 4th, 1972, which is 8. So the 7 that we had last night ties 2006, but the record is 8 from June 4th, 1972. On a day where there were 16 games played, there were 8 shutouts, so 50% of the games were shut out. So what we need to know stepping forward here, is that what, I just want to make sure that's correct here. So, yeah, it was the most shutouts on one day, record 8 when 16 games were played. So June 4th, 1972, 8 shutouts, and we have not seen more than 8 ever. So the record, PJ, is 8. Last night was 1 away from tying the record.
Those are good numbers, of course, and you're always right when you dig up numbers like that. But the way the pitching is these days, a pitcher's going to get a win after 4 2/3 innings, and if he's got a shutout going, and he's going to get a win.
Yeah,
a shutout. What I saw yesterday and what you were describing back in the 70s, there were a lot of pitchers that went the whole deal, went to all 9 innings. We don't see that anymore. We'll see a handful of 9-inning games this year, maybe 10 out of how many we got. So I want to see pitching and defense, but I also want to see the starter go a little bit more. There's one player who's at the beginning of this article here that I'm reading about, and that's Alex Bregman. Now, we know Bregman came from Houston. He wasn't happy with the contract they were giving to him over there, and he and Jose Altuve have been together for years. He even speaks Spanish. Bregman going to Boston, and then Devers taking a hike. Boston, I see, is mailing it in too. If they're going to throw Alex Bregman out there for trade bait, who's one of the best third basemen, period, in baseball, not National League or American League, everything. So I'm looking for the Yankees to maybe, or the Mets maybe, to try to tap into Alex Bregman. That's, right now I would say that Bregman maybe a 50% chance of being traded. He's got a huge contract. Whoever trades for him is going to have to assume that. So that's the biggest one that I can read. And one guy right next to him was Jarren Duran, who plays outfield for Boston. Now he's another guy who had a career year last year, and he's doing better this year. He's a sensational outfielder. He hits like hell. Both of these players are young. They're aggressive, and they're super players. They're good fielders and they're good hitters. So Boston's got 2 guys at the top of the list that people are looking to get.
Well, I want to make 2 notes, one of them going off of what you said and one going off of what we were talking about back in 1972. June 4th, 1972, the record for most shutouts in one day for Major League Baseball, there was 8. On that day, St. Louis's Bob Gibson, Detroit's Tom Timmerman, Boston's John Curtis, Houston's Don Wilson, and one of the greatest names in the history of mankind, Oakland's Catfish Hunter, pitched complete game shutouts on that day. So we talk about
never see it again. Never see it again.
Complete game shutouts. That was so there was 5. So of the 8 shutouts that day, 5 of them were complete game shutouts. June 4th, 1972. And as we're here in June this morning, we're looking at historically how long ago that was. This is absolutely insane to think. But we're in 2025. That was 1972. So for those of you playing the home game, that was a little over 53 years ago that we saw 8 shutouts in one day. Will we see it again as we're over half a century that we have not seen that many? But last night we got close with 7. To go to the Alex Bregman thing here, PJ, do you really think that the Boston Red Sox would let him go? We know that they have some young talent. We know, we've talked about the Boston Red Sox this season in different storylines here. And one of the things that we spoke about with Boston is the fact that they had a young prospect that they could bring up and they could have help them. And that young prospect hit a 497-foot home run, which is the longest of the season by anyone. So the question became, and that's Roman Anthony. So the question became, what are they going to do with Roman Anthony? What can he be to this team? They have different guys on this Boston Red Sox roster. One of them being, you have Marcelo Mayer and you have Roman Anthony. You look at young talent and what that can mean for their future. But Alex Bregman is a guy that they just brought in. This is a guy who homered in his first at-bat with the Red Sox, albeit in spring training, but he did homer the first time. He has 11 home runs this season, 35 RBIs. His OPS is 938, and his batting average is 299 so far this season. When we look at Alex Bregman's contract, PJ, they just brought him in, as I said, and so Alex Bregman currently is on a 3-year, $120 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. Do you believe that in less than a year's time, in about a half a year's time, they would move him? They just got him this season for 2025, 3 years, $120 million, which averages out to $40 million a year. Do you actually think the Boston Red Sox would be willing to move him and move him, not even having him for a full season?
I think it's possible. I think that Boston would be looking for a bunch of prospects for him. I would say if they're going to trade Bregman, they got to have at least 3 of their top prospects to give up, and I don't know if they're prepared to do that. I think that Bregman is in a situation where he can actually dominate for Boston for 4 or 5 years, and hurt him and Duran, of course. But Boston, the way I'm reading and the way I'm looking and the comments that I hear every night in baseball, they're not too crazy about trying to run trying to run the table against Toronto, Tampa, and New York. I think they're going to pack it in like I think Arizona's going to do, and they're going to get some picks. To answer your question, I think that's probably 50%. I think that the trade is 50%.
Okay. Well, I'm putting it up right now, and you can feel free to vote in this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's X page, the former Twitter, now known as X. You can vote by simply going to @CallDT on X. That's @CALLDT. And the question for you is clear, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. PJ and I put up polls all throughout the year, so make sure you're following the show @CallDT on X. That's @CALLDT. The question that has come up to you right now is, despite not even being with the Boston Red Sox for a full season as of yet, do you believe the Red Sox will trade Alex Bregman before the 2025 trade deadline? You could vote yes or no this morning, and that poll is now live and available to you on X. Any final notes, PJ, for today?
I do have one other player here. He's a very good player, Cedric Mullins for Baltimore. Now, we know the problems that Baltimore's had this year. I think they they jumped the gun too quick on getting rid of their manager. But I think Mullins is 30 years old. He's played excellent for the last 4 or 5 years. He's going to be a free agent, and I think that there's better than a 50% chance that Mullins is going to be traded. Baltimore, we know, has already thrown it in. They're not to anyone and anywhere. He plays center field, plays flawlessly. He's a good hitter. He's a good runner. He steals bases. He's a good player. So I look for Cedric Mullins as being one of the top players to go this year.
Yeah, and we will see as things shake out here as we get closer and closer to the Major League Baseball trade deadline, which is July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the last day of July. So we are a little over a month away from that. And so seeing this, will the Yankees get after their bullpen? Will the Chicago Cubs make a deal for a starting pitcher? And what are the Mets going to do? Are they looking to the outfield? So some interesting things that can happen here before the trade deadline on July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, PJ, I appreciate your expertise and your time talking with us around the league of Major League Baseball and in sports and life in general. The votes have already started to come in, and the early voting has stated that, yes, people believe Alex Bregman could end this season not being a Red Sox after starting this season a Red Sox and having never been one before. So that would be really interesting, PJ, to see a name like Alex Bregman and to see him go to the Boston Red Sox and not even spend a full calendar season with the team. That looks like one of the things that can ignite a fan base. And so could you imagine, you ignite your fan base, you bring in Bregman, you get excited about what he can do, and he's gone a little over halfway through the year. It would be crazy, but we shall see.
I have one other player, Daniel, I know before we got to get going.
Yep.
One other player who I've talked about the last 3 years, and that's Luis Robert from Chicago White Sox, who has been their leader for years. He's been trade bait every year. Chicago, we know, is not going anywhere. And I look for Robert to land somewhere, too. Yeah. He's got a better than 75% chance of being traded.
Well, and the question, do they make moves? Do the Phillies do something? Do the Mets do something? Do the Yankees do something? Do the Tigers do something? And then the other question becomes the teams at the bottom of the barrel, the Red Sox who are struggling, the Pirates who are struggling. Are they going to be open to trade talks? And then those teams like the Diamondbacks that are not out of it but need to scratch and claw their way a little bit higher here before things get out of control, will those teams be advantageous? So we will keep a close eye to this in the coming weeks as PJ joins me on Thursdays, and we'll let you know about what could be happening, what is happening, and what the next big move is going to be, whoever that's going to be. You know that we're going to discuss it here on Wake Up Call with the guru of baseball. The Go-So is the guru. PJ, as always, I love you and I appreciate you. Give MT a hug for me, and I'll talk with you soon.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That come from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Coming up in just a few minutes, we will be joined here on Wake Up Call in our special featuring Mean Gene Mills, the wrestler of Syracuse, the Syracuse Hall of Famer, I should say, and we'll be hearing from him and his thoughts on what's coming up on Sunday, June 29th, and Monday, June 30th, here in our community at Timberbanks in Baldwinsville, New York, regarding the NFL alumni and what we can be excited about here in our community about those alumni and about giving back to the community and having a couple days of fun for all of us here in Central and Upstate New York. So a lot of great stuff coming up. I want to thank Rocco Carbone for connecting us with Gene Mills. We'll take a step aside and we'll be back here inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios right after this. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York, to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are there for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and you can get a sneak peek of their inventory of new and used vehicles by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. So, with that being said, I want to thank Papa Joe for being a part of the show here today. Jerry said, love you guys, good stuff. We love you back, Jer, so much. The Phillies need a stand-up reliever. That's what Jerry wants before the trade deadline, July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We put the poll out on X. You could vote in it today. Make sure you follow us on X at CallDT, CALLDT, on X, the former Twitter. And the question is, despite not being with the Boston Red Sox for a full season as of yet, do you believe the Red Sox will trade Alex Bregman before the 2025 trade deadline? Early voting is in. 75% of you say yes, and 25% say no. So interesting there. We'll see. I'll continue to watch that and see what happens from here. But as of right now, 75%. The early voting was 100% yes. Now it's 75-25. So some of you believe that Alex Bregman will stay a Boston Red Sox, at least for this year. He signed a 3-year, $120 million deal. So we'll see what happens there. So excited to obviously get into this as things continue to come to light in trades that can happen between now and July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to take a look at what's going on in the NHL. Some news here. The NHL and the NHLPA, which is the NHL's Players Association, are negotiating on an 84-game season in a new collective bargaining agreement potentially here. So, negotiating to increase to an 84-game regular season, which is what's has kind of been floating around. Now, they're not my direct sources, and I tell people this all the time. If I do not know the sources firsthand, then I cannot corroborate what they're saying. It's just interesting of a story, so I bring it up here, but I don't like talking about sources of other sources, so we could talk about the idea of it, the topic of it, but I cannot corroborate as I have not spoken to someone directly about this. Now, an increase over the current 82-game schedule has been discussed internally by the NHL over the past few seasons. The league has been considering scheduling alternatives after some franchises complained about an imbalanced number of division games against rivals, contests that typically draw larger crowds and bigger television audiences. The addition of 2 regular season games would allow the NHL to keep its current schedule format, which sees every team visit every opponent at least once while giving division rivals 4 games against each other every season. But there has been discussion on other alterations to the format as well. It's expected the NHL will reduce the number of preseason games to compensate for the additional 2 regular season games, which is something that we saw with the NFL. The NFL adding an extra week, going from 17 weeks to 18, but still having 1 bye week, meaning that teams play 17 regular season games instead of 16 regular season games. They used to have 4 preseason games. They got rid of 1 preseason game and went from 4 preseason to 3 preseason, and then, of course, going from 4 preseason to 3 preseason, added that extra regular season game. So that's something that we could look at. The current collective bargaining agreement will expire on September 15th of 2026. The NHL previously had an 84 game regular season from 92 to 94, when the league and NHLPA agreed to add 2 neutral site games to every team's schedule. So we'll take a look at this and what will happen here. It can include a way to address teams' use of the long-term injured reserve salary cap exemption late in the regular season, only to bring those players back into their lineups at the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. One possible remedy requiring lineups iced in the playoffs to be cap compliant, even if the entirety of the roster is still over the salary cap. So an expanded regular season is one of several issues being negotiated. And so they include a way to adjust the team's use of the long-term injured reserve salary cap. So that's something they could be looked at as well. And we can see what they're going to do here. But if they go to 84 games, then the NHL, which runs parallel to the NBA almost to a T, the NHL would have 2 more regular season games than the NBA, giving hockey 84 to NBA's 82. Currently, both leagues have 82 regular season games. With that being said, we'll take a step aside here for a quick fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And when we come back, we will have our conversation with Gene Mills on the upcoming golf outing, charity golf classic that we have for the NFL Alumni Upstate New York chapter. We'll talk about that right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, are your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. They have everything from singles, packs, and boxes to graded cards. You can find potential one-of-ones, and they have so many unique cards there. Rookie patch autos, low-numbered cards. Like I said, the one-of-ones. They have autographs from actors and actresses and singers and songwriters that are there throughout the year. So do not miss out. You never know what's going to be in that display case at GG Cards and Breaks. Soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football, Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and more while supplies last. Get in there today, 639 Delmar Place. They are open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sundays from 10 to 5. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You'll find them open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and you can get a sneak peek of everything they have to offer, from the Pilot to the Passport, the Ridgeline, the Civic, the Accord, the HRV, the CRV, and more by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We appreciate everybody that has done that. We are here picture-in-picture with Gene Mills, mean Gene Mills to be real about all that, and the director of the NFL Alumni Upstate New York Chapter Golf event here ahead of the 2025 Charity Golf Classic. Gene, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing very well. And you know, Gene, happy to have you here. And first and foremost, happy to see this. Happy to see NFL alumni here in upstate New York and to have a golf classic, to be doing something over the summer, to get a bunch of people together for a good cause. It's a charity golf classic, so I'd love for you to share what the cause is.
So the cause this year is David's Refuge, and they basically care for the caretaker. So last year we did it for two charities, which was the Francis House and Aaron's Angels, and it went very well. And we're looking forward to this year.
And when you're going to pick a charity, because I know this is the second year of this golf tournament that you're having, when you are deciding on where to give this charitable donation, how do you kind of assess where you want to go? I know, like you said, last year you had two. This year you have a different charity. So how do you assess who you choose to work with?
Last year it was, I know I had a lot of close ties to both Aaron's Angels and the Francis House. I know, my wife volunteers a lot with the Francis House, and so I really wanted to do something for them. And close to my heart, I'm in Phoenix, New York, and Aaron's Angels was started because Aaron Maxwell, who was one of our students, passed away from not being fed. So Aaron's Angels make sure that kids don't go hungry, and they help feed them and clothe them, and it's another awesome organization. So this year when we met to figure out the charity, the other guys already, they really wanted to go with David's Refuge, so I was like, okay, let's do it. So.
And for David's Refuge this year, for their message and what they do in the community, just what it is that you like about them.
Well, I honestly, before I was introduced to them, I didn't realize that they were, people that help take care of people who are taking care of other people. It's got to be exhausting and really taxing on people. There are people that have never been on a vacation because they have, kids with special, setbacks, and they need to be there to take care of them all the time. And, like if they can't afford something like a wheelchair or medication, I know they help them with that. And, if people haven't been on a vacation in 20 years or something, they bring in a caretaker and a nurse, and they try to make sure that they get those simple things in life, where, most people take for granted. Go on vacation for a weekend down in Florida or whatever, So I liked that. So it was nice.
Yeah. And I can definitely understand the world of the caretaker, as can my mom, as we both took care of my grandmother, my G-Mama, and I lived with her for a couple of years, taking care of her. My mom also took care of her, and so I could definitely appreciate David's Refuge and caring for the caretaker, because as my mom and I could both tell you, it is hard at times, and it is a lot on a person, and I don't think people really know those stories. So I appreciate you having that message being shared with the tournament this year. For you, Mean Gene Mills, we know you in the wrestling world. We know that you are a part of the Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame that was established back in 1987, and you were enshrined in 1991. So I got to ask, from your side of it, connecting with the NFL alumni, how did that happen for you?
Well, the organization, the NFL Alumni, the Upstate New York chapter, really was not very active, and the president of the NFL Alumni reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you help us?" Because they know I have helped other organizations raise some money and stuff. And he said, we just want to raise money for charities, and we don't even know where to start. So I said, well, the only thing I kind of know what to do really is golf outings. So I told him I could do a golf outing and help him out with that, and so I did. So we ended up doing a celebrity meet and greet the night before, and then the golf tournament the next day. and there's a lot of things that is going on to make it a lot of fun. So when people come to the celebrity meet and greet, the ambiance is awesome. It's at Timber Banks. We have live music. We have all kinds of hors d'oeuvres, and I set up tables where I asked all the celebrities to come early and autograph all the footballs, NFL alumni footballs that have that logo on it. And I asked them, basically they did a great job of just meeting and greeting, taking pictures with people and, interacting with them. And it was an awesome ambiance. The next day, we had fresh rolled cigars, and Dunkin' supplied bagels, donuts, coffee, stuff like that for us. And then we went out on the course, and we had whiskey tasting by Lock One, and we have Anheuser-Busch that's really been supportive, and they're doing some stuff for us on a few holes. And we have Matthews Hyundai helping us out by, if you get a hole-in-one, you win a $60,000 Hyundai Palisades. And there's just a lot of things going out on the course that are a lot of fun. We do have silent auctions on Sunday night, and raffles and prizes and stuff on Monday. And hopefully we can raise a lot of money. So,
yeah, and like you said, I mean, when they reached out to you for the NFL alumni chapter in upstate New York and looking to get that going and do some things with it and raise some money and whatnot, there was the reality for you, like you said, well, I can help with golf tournaments because that's the experience that you've had. Where did that start when you got approached from the NFL alumni? Kind of a two-part question. Why did they approach you? Like, what is that connection, that relationship that even opened you up to the NFL alumni upstate New York chapter? And then secondly, to go a little bit deeper in your work in golf tournaments that made you feel like, hey, if I do this, then I obviously know how to run a golf tournament.
Well, I, as the president of the NFL alumni, when he got out of the NFL, got into martial arts. And I own a gym, and where we have jiu-jitsu and grappling and stuff like that. And I mean, he was a pretty big, rugged guy, and he wanted to grapple with me. So then he tells everybody that I folded him up like a lawn chair. So he's like, this little guy just folded me up like a lawn chair. And so he reached out to me because we kind of had a friendship after that. And I knew a lot of the guys that are involved in the NFL alumni, and they just asked me to help. So I think it's hard for me to say no to a lot of people, which kind of sucks, because but I gotta learn how to say no. But I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy helping other people. So.
Well, and for you, the connection, like you said, when you were approached and the thought of like, hey, I could do a golf tournament. What experience did you have before running golf tournaments or being connected to them that made you feel like, hey, this could be something good for the NFL alumni upstate New York chapter?
Well, when I was at Syracuse University for 22 years, I always tried putting together a golf outing, and I was president of the Eastern Intercollegiate Wrestling Association, which was the Eastern, well, it's called the Easterns in college, and there were 16 teams, and so I started a Hall of Fame for the Easterns, and basically the fundraiser I did was having a golf tournament, and then we all went together, and we all went to like East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, which was kind of centralized, and we raised enough money where we could bring in our inductees and pay for their hotels and get them awards and pay for tickets for their families, and I don't know, it was a nice thing. And then actually when I had my bachelor party, I literally all I wanted was a golf outing and then go to my house and have a barbecue. So we had 144 people in the golf outing. So I don't know, but I always thought of other fun things I could do with it, like bringing in having rolled cigars, having different kind of tastings from different venues, and Last year we had a wine tasting, whiskey tasting. We had a neutral tasting, and beer tasting, and it went really really well. And so I just tried to bring in some fun things, and I asked all those places. I think we had like 5 or 6 holes where we had drinks or something going on at those things, and I asked them all if they would bring a tent, a table, chairs, and a Bluetooth speaker and play music and make it like a fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, and we do have live music for not only Sunday night's meet and greet, but also for the dinner after. We have Frank and Ash and the Jimmy Marley Trio. Last year we had the Jimmy Marley Trio open on Sunday and Frank and Ash on Monday, and this year we flip-flopped them. And they're both volunteering also to do this for charity, and they were great. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and assembling all of this together, and it sounds like a lot of fun, and working in the event world and the event planning world, you're speaking my language, and I love the fact that it's an eclectic group of different businesses that you're working with, and you're doing things that I haven't experienced at a golf outing, and you're doing some things like having a hole-in-one and you can win a car, something that we do anticipate seeing. Bringing this all together, Gene, I'm going to ask you to speak about yourself for a second. It's about relationships, right? There's transactional people and there's the relationship builders. You have to build relationships in order to pull off any event and really anything successful in business, especially sustaining that success. What can you say to building relationships in the community and how that's going to be on display for June 29th and June 30th?
Well, we're very fortunate to know some people that are kind of like decision makers in a lot of businesses, and we were really fortunate that they were more than willing to help. They love helping charities, and I know it's tax write-offs and stuff for them, but there's only so many you can do a year. But for them to partner up with us and help us raise money for the charities, we just thought it was awesome. So, when I talked to the different places, that there were very few places that said we couldn't, because they were already, earmarked their money for other places. That's, so.
Yeah, coming here from Gene Mills on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, the director of the NFL Alumni Upstate New York chapter for the golf event here ahead of the 2025 golf outing. This tournament is going to be going on Monday, June 30th, and the meet and greet with the celebrities is happening on June 29th. I'll get to some of that information in a second, but Gene, you didn't know I was going to do this, but I feel like it. Looking at your Hall of Fame here, I'm just going to read off some things for people to know. A native of New Jersey, one of the greatest wrestlers in Syracuse University history, won 2 NCAA Division I championships, and was Syracuse's first and only 4-time All-American. A career mark of 144 5-1 at Syracuse, which included a Division I NCAA record 107 career pins. A 1980 United States Olympian. You were named Athlete of the Year by the U.S. Olympic Committee. Although you did not compete in the Moscow Olympics because of the U.S. boycott, you became a world super champion in Japan and a Tbilisi champion in the former USSR. You were voted the outstanding wrestler in both tournaments. You were a finalist for the 1984 U.S. Olympic team, and at that time you had shoulder reconstruction, and you had an incredible record of 1,356, 45-1, with 866 of your victories won by fall. You were inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2000 to start off the 21st century, and you went on to become a successful high school wrestling coach in Phoenix, New York. Career highlights include 1977-81 SU wrestling team, the record I mentioned, 2-time NCAA champion, 4-time All-American, 1980 World Cup champion and outstanding wrestler, 1980 U.S. Olympic Committee Athlete of the Year and AAU Outstanding Wrestler. In 1981, the most valuable wrestler, NCAA tournament, won the World Cup, Great Plains tournament, Palando tournament in Cuba, and most outstanding wrestler. 1982 won the AAU tournament title, became head coach of the Mohawk Valley Wrestling Club. In 1985, champion and outstanding wrestler, the Rakoczy Cup, the Hungary champion, the outstanding wrestler, the Roger Goulon tournament in France, U.S. World Team, 1985, 1987, 1988, and 1991, head coach for U.S. wrestling team in Budapest, and in Hungary, 1986 to 1998, assistant coach, Syracuse University wrestling team, head coach of the Mohawk Valley Wrestling Club, camp director of the SU Big Orange Wrestling School, 1990 and 91, USA head coach versus the USSR in Portland, Maine, and Syracuse, New York. And then, as I said, in 2000, National Wrestling Hall of Fame. You were also in the Pan American Games and the freestyle champion. So I don't know if I missed anything, Gene, but that reads off like it's the career of 18 different wrestlers. First and foremost, congratulations on your history and all that you have done.
Thanks. That was a lot of digging you must have did to find all this. I just love competing. It was fun, but you know, those days are past. My students at Phoenix High School just knew me as Coach Mills, short little fat guy that walks around and tells them what to do.
And so for you, from shifting from being on the mat to coaching, what was that experience like for you?
It was rewarding. At first, it was a little frustrating because I wanted them to do what I could do, but once I realized that nobody is me and they'll never be me, and you know, any mistake they make is kind of on me not having the time to develop them. So one message I would love to get out to any and every coach out there on the planet is the fact that they got to realize that their kids are not them. They're going to make mistakes. They put enough pressure on themselves. They don't need more from a coach or a parent. And, when coaches start realizing that, I think that will help them want to teach them more and make them drill stuff to the point where they can make it second nature. You don't want to drill something till you get it right. You want to drill it till you can't get it wrong. And if we didn't have them have that opportunity to do that, we can't ever expect them to do what we would do. So
yeah, and I appreciate that, and I like that. Don't drill it till you get it right, drill it till you can't get it wrong. How have you embodied that, not just in wrestling but in life?
A lot. I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of like the way I've always believed. I wanted to do it so I couldn't get it wrong, and then I wanted to do it so it was natural. I always told people, you can't stop to think, because when you think, you stink because the other person's doing something.
Yeah.
So.
And, and to see in your life beyond wrestling and beyond coaching, even with this golf outing, what kind of things reminisce that for you? Like, do it so that it becomes second nature. Is there something from last year to this year's golf outing that you can take that motif, take that theme of do it so many times that you can't get it wrong? Is there something that you learned last year that you have just kind of put into your daily life or put into this golf outing, put into this event, that you have essentially practiced it to a point where it's second nature?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's not like we made mistakes. It's just that I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted to do because I was pretty much one person. And I would like to get some more help. So when we get more help, I think we can make this thing way bigger and better. But, last year, it was the first year, and nobody knew what to do, so I just did everything. I gotta get them to help me a little more by more as they are. So,
well, I would say this to you, Gene. If you have two teams that tie at the end of the golf outing, I think that you should have them on the final hole wrestle for it. I think that would be fitting.
I like that idea. Absolutely.
Then we could see what they could do. Gene Mills here with us today. You're going to have a bunch of different people at the event. I know pretty much everybody on this list. And so former Syracuse football players are scheduled to appear. Blake Bednar of the Buffalo Bills, who's been on the show. Craig Bingham of the Steelers. Riley Dixon, who I was with when he was with the Broncos. Got to spend some time with Riley. We both also hail from Christian Brothers Academy. The Broncos, the Giants, and the Bucks. Robert Drummond is not only a friend, I consider him genuinely a brother in my life from the Syracuse, from his time at JD to Syracuse's 1987 undefeated team to the Eagles to going into the CFL and winning multiple championships. Arthur Jones, who I also know, Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl champion. James Mungro, who I know comes from the Colts. Dan Conley, who has been on the show many times. And then other notable guests that you have outside of Syracuse football, looking at Eric Devendorf, who has been on the broadcast, Lawrence Moten, who, poetry and Moten, I've spent a lot of time around him and gotten to know him over the years. And then Casey Rogers of the Bills, Leland Rogers, SUNY Cortland lacrosse coach, Mike Wiley of the Cowboys, and then John Kolb, 4-time Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just to look at this list that you're going to have for the meet and greet on Sunday, June 29th, and then hopefully also at the tournament on Monday, June 30th, what you can say about assembling this group and just what it means to you to have these people join you for this year's tournament.
Well, I love the fact that they're coming for a great cause. One of the things I always try to do is make positive impact on people's lives or for other people's lives. And two of the guys can't make it, Eric Devendorf and Lawrence Moten. They can't make it this year. Yeah. But Mike Dotterer, Super Bowl champ with the Raiders, is going to be there also. And there's probably some others that you might have missed. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. It means a lot that they want to give back to the community. So that's what it's all about, coming together and giving back.
And as they come together and give back here at this NFL Alumni Upstate New York Chapter Charity Golf Tournament, the meet and greet dinner Sunday, June 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom at Timberbanks Golf Club, and then the golf tournament and dinner Monday, June 30th. Things will get started off at 9 a.m. The shotgun start will officially happen after registration, which starts at 9. The shotgun start is at 10:30 a.m. and then dinner will follow when all the teams are done at Timberbanks Golf Club. What do you want us to know more into these two events? Because we know the time that they're going to be. We know it's going to be at Timberbanks. I personally know Timberbanks because I actually used to live there. I had an apartment that was right there in the golf course area. So I've got to know it over 3 years' time. I also know some people that are still there to this day that are doing things business-wise that I can appreciate. So I'd love to get your thoughts on why Timberbanks and just what else you'd like to share about what's coming up this Sunday and Monday.
Well, for why Timberbanks, I don't know. I just felt like it was probably the nicest clubhouse in upstate New York. As far as Sunday, it's not a dinner. It's just music and hors d'oeuvres. But I forget, there was another question you asked in there.
Looking at what the expectations are and the thoughts are on what's coming up for Sunday and Monday. So just why you've chosen to do what you've done and why it was important to you to not just have the golf outing, but to also have the meet and greet beforehand.
Well, I love the idea of that meet and greet because a lot of the people that attended said that was like one of the nicest things that they've ever done. It's not a sit-down dinner. We didn't want a sit-down dinner where people sit and feel like they got to get up to talk to somebody. They had like tabletops and people were walking around on the outskirts. I put tables and I gave every celebrity a Sharpie, and I asked them all to sign footballs that they could, basically bid on or whatever. And then I also made trading cards for all of them. And we made 100 trading cards each. So kids were going around and getting their autographs and getting their pictures taken with them. And it was just a really nice thing to do. And I know if people want to go, they can show up on Sunday. It's $100 to get in. And it's going to all go towards charity. So.
And that $100, like you said, going toward charity. So if a family of 4 comes in and they got 2 kids, let's say the kids are 5 years old and 3 years old, family of 4, what is it going to cost them to get in? Are the adults playing and then the kids can just come in? How is that working for, as an example, a family of 4?
The original price was $150 for them, or per person. And then we were going to knock it down to 100 for kids, and then we're just saying 100 for everybody.
So 100 for everybody that comes in, and that gets them an opportunity to get as many autographs as they want, shake as many hands as they want, so they could come in and meet and greet with everybody. So once they pay to come in, they can enjoy all of the celebrities that are going to be there.
Yep. And they can even meet me.
And for you, and well, that's the thing too, is did you make yourself any cards? Are you going to be signing anything? Mean Gene, you got to be doing something.
Yeah, I'll have cards. I'll be doing the stuff, so.
And then for the golf outing itself, are you golfing or are you facilitating?
I wanted to facilitate. If I have enough celebrities, poof, I'll just facilitate and drive around and thank people. And if they, like last year, they needed another celebrity, so I just jumped in there. So.
And for you, when you look at this golf outing and the opportunity that'll be there for everyone, just if somebody wants to be a part of this, if they want to come in, like you said, they can come on Sunday, June 29th. On Monday, June 30th, how did you try to kind of interact with the community to make sure that you had groups there? Is it a foursome? Is it, because I know I've seen some things here on the flyer, but is it captain and crew? How are you working the actual golf outing?
So it's captain and crew, and last year they had to sign up as a foursome.
Okay.
And when we first started the registration, we were doing that, and then we had a lot of people saying, well, can I just register, and if there are 3 other guys that need a 4th, I could be their 4th. And so we have, at one point we had like 8 people that wanted to, just be a single and see if they could be put on a team. So we changed that registration in Give Butter, which is our platform that they got to go to on that QR code. And, so anybody can do it. And, I know it's pricey, but when you think about having, live music with a celebrity meet and greet, and then Timberbanks is a very, very nice course, with a cart, and you'll have kind of like a breakfast to snack on, and then lunch on the turn, and then another dinner after. It costs a lot, so.
Yeah, and like you said, putting that all together and going toward a good cause with David's Refuge. Looking at the weather right now, Sunday you'll be inside. It may rain, but it's supposed to be 80. Monday, total sun, 88. So we're looking for a good day of golf on Monday, June 30th. And on Sunday, June 29th, if it rains a little, you're going to be inside at the meet and greet anyways. So the QR code, obviously, we can put out here and share this as well. But Gene, any final notes that you want to make to the community on why to get involved, why to donate, and why to be a part of this NFL Alumni Charity Golf Tournament?
Well, if there's anybody that wants to make positive impacts on other people's lives, this is just a nice opportunity to be able to do that. So that's it.
That coming here from Mean Gene Mills, who does smile. He's known as Mean Gene, but we've seen a lot of smiles and laughter here today. Gene, thank you for your positivity. Thank you for the work that you put into this. I know that no event, especially, and I know this world of doing something by yourself with 100 moving parts, it is not an easy thing to do. So thank you for taking on this for the community, for the NFL alumni, for getting these people together. You got a lot of good people that are going to be there helping you out with really big hearts. So I want to say thank you for the work and appreciate the fact that you're doing it here in my home of Central and Upstate New York. So very much an appreciation for that. And I look forward to you having a lot of success on June 29th and June 30th, and as well as beyond that.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. And I want to give a special thanks to Papa Joe and Gene Mills for joining me on the broadcast today. And you can get yourself out to the Upstate New York golf tournament here for the NFL Alumni. So I want to let you know here the golf outing and to get you that information so you can get out there. And there is a QR code, and you could go online to the NFL. It's NFLalumni.org. The event is June 29th to June 30th. NFL Alumni Charity Golf Classic 2025 Upstate New York chapter. And so you can see all of this on the website. And of course, I can share this with you. It's going to be supporting David's Refuge. So it's a good cause here to take a look at David's Refuge and what they do. Just to let you all know, David's Refuge, which you can look up at davidsrefuge.org. They care for the caregivers. Stronger caregivers live to stronger families. Stronger families lead to a stronger community, and my mom and I, having been caregivers to my G-Mama, this is something that I look to here. So the mission is to provide respite, resources, and support to parents and guardians of children with special needs or life-threatening medical conditions where they will be refreshed, restored, and renewed in their role as caregivers. 1 in every 26 American families are raising a child with a disability. The need for respite services and support is overwhelming, and David's Refuge is called to to impact as many lives as possible through our mission. So they deal with people helping their children, but like I said, my mom and I, in the world of caregiving, helped my grandmother. So, caregiving to me is caregiving. And David's Refuge, which is located in East Syracuse, they are going to be the recipient of the money raised for this event for the Upstate New York NFL chapter and having this charity golf classic. So you can check that out. You can donate and get tickets and more information. I am looking at it right now here for the event itself and some information that's gone on here. So just to give you some more information, the NFL Alumni Charity Golf Classic in Upstate New York is raising money for charities to care for kids and care for our community. In 2024, they raised more than $10,000 that directly supported local nonprofits, and this year they have selected David's Refuge, as I mentioned, who will receive proceeds from the event. David's Refuge is a Syracuse, New York-based nonprofit organization that began in 2012, and I read you the mission for that. NFL Alumni Upstate Chapter's goal is to support David's Refuge with a minimum donation of $25,000. We hope you'll join us for the exciting two-day event featuring a celebrity meet and greet on Sunday, June 29th at Timberbanks Golf Club from 6 to 9 p.m. with a silent auction, hors d'oeuvres, and live music. NFL celebrity lineup is already out there, and obviously we talked about it with Gene Mills. On Monday, June 30th, you could take part in their Charity Golf Classic, followed by dinner, silent auction, raffles, great music, and a check presentation to David's Refuge. The tournament is captain and crew, with each foursome being paired with an NFL alum, and the tournament will have a shotgun start at 10:30 a.m., and they'll start things off as far as registration, I believe, at 9 a.m. And last year, they donated to Aaron's Angels and the Francis House. So you can get all this information. Like I said, we can share this with you on social media as well. And so you can look at different sponsorships that you can do, or you can add your name, register a team and a foursome. So I'm going to go ahead and share this on our Facebook right now so that you have it. But you could take a look at that information for the Charity Golf Classic for the Upstate New York chapter of NFL Alumni. And I appreciate everybody getting involved. Of course, friends that I know that are within this, and people that I consider family. So much appreciation to the wonderful hearts that are going to give of their time. And I'm not surprised at all of some of the people that are going to be out at this event. So many thanks to them. Appreciate you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. So thank you so much for your support of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live around the world. And of course, once we go live, we jump into the archive, and you'll find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe and follow any one of these channels, or all of these channels, as they come to you so easily and are able, we're with you wherever you go, because we're on all these channels and it's hard to miss us. You can search us on any search engine, including Safari and Google and whatnot. And of course, when you find us there, you can also find other avenues of connecting with us. You can find our social media, which obviously we put up every show: Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. You can ask Alexa or your Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. So a lot of ways to connect with Wake Up Call, and it is easy, it is free, and we are wherever you are. Big time thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, our great team of fantastic people: Great Lakes Honda City, as well as Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, Avicoli's Mother's Cupboard, Servo-Mation, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Brian's Landing, and of course, I would also like to thank the Brooklyn Pickle down in South Carolina in Southern Pines, right, this location on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina is right down the road, just a few minutes from Pinehurst Golf Course, and you will find Pinehurst Golf Course there. I mean, it's known to the PGA and an exciting place to be. I've been on the grounds of the Pinehurst Golf area when we had the ACC kickoff out there years ago, and the Brooklyn Pickle is less than 10 minutes away, and that is on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, so make sure you go and visit them today. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show here where sports truly meets that thing called life. And so you will find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wake up call DT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will find our BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Binghamton University here with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni, and always appreciate the conversations we get to have with them. You can find them all on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com, and as always, go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning into today's show inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, having the opportunity to share with you inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', our conversation with Papa Joe on Major League Baseball, and with Gene Mills on the NFL Alumni Upstate New York Chapter's Charity Golf Classic that is going on this Sunday, June 29th at Timberbanks Golf Club in Baldwinsville, New York. Sunday, June 29th from 6 to 9 p.m. You'll have the opportunity for a meet and greet with many wonderful guests. And, of course, on Monday, June 30th, you could be a part of the golf tournament itself, and that's also at Timberbanks. So thanks to Gene Mills and thanks to Rocco Carbone for helping to set up the opportunity for Gene to be on the show today, and many thanks to Papa Joe. I appreciate you all, and I send you all my prayers, my well wishes, and I pray that everyone who has passed on is safe and sound in heaven, reunited with their loved ones that have also passed on, and that they are closer to God than ever. And that is a beautiful, wonderful breath of fresh air that only gets sweeter and more wonderful every day. And for those of us here on earth, that we are with our loved ones and that we get closer and closer to God and closer to the breath of fresh air and the sweetness of that fresh air every single day. And that we're all connected to our loved ones that have passed on, even in death, because dying you destroyed our death and rising you restored our life. Jesus, God, please take away all evil, all pain, all suffering, the devil himself and all demons from our lives inside and out. And may we all just be healthy, safe, and happy. May we heal from our wounds completely and for good, those seen and unseen. And no matter what, heal through you, my God, and handle well whatever comes our way in and out of our control. I pray that you guide us, you guard us, and you help us to be ourselves when it's easy and when it is hard and every moment in between. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we are stronger with you and better because of you and would not exist without you. Thank you, God, for your sacrifice, your love, in your goodness, as well as your parenting, including that tough love. Thank you for watching and listening. God bless. No stress. Do your best. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Be at peace and be well. We'll talk soon.